social media, on their phones, on their laptops, on iPads. We are totally dysfunctional. Are there solutions to that so that we're able to manage these factors that you have mentioned in the family setup?
Today's family, they are raised without a vision. A family is like any company that has to have a vision.
Welcome and thank you for tuning to Jawabu Talk, here for you. Nehemiah 4:14, the Bible says, God, give me the strength each day to fight for my family. But right now with the new normal, are we really fighting to put our families together, or we are tearing each other apart? There's so many things that have been happening, and to some extent we are blaming COVID-19. We've had these issues in our lives before. It's only that we were burying our head in the sand. And now, when the new normal came to us, there are no options. Everything had to be around. Now, do we have solutions to all that is happening to us? I believe you've been in tune with us concerning fatherhood. And that is what a discussion we want to continue today. But we do not want to focus on the issues affecting us. We want to focus on the solutions to these issues. And today I'm privileged to have one of our best counselors here in Absolom. He's called Mr. Absolom Makinda. He's a counseling psychologist, he's a lecturer, he's a father, he's a grandfather, and he has so many titles. Only that today he told me he wants to just be called counselor. So welcome you, sir, and you can tell us about yourself.
Thank you, Regina, for that wonderful introduction and for this particular day. As our host has said, my name is Absolom Makinda, a grandfather, also a lecturer, a father, and indeed a Kenyan. So I'm here so that we can be able to share what is happening to us as people today under the influence of COVID-19. So I'm ready so that we can be able to discuss, share, and perhaps help our people on how to manage the challenges or side effects of COVID-19.
Thank you, sir. We are really privileged to have you in this time and in this session in Jawabu Talk. Now, so much has been happening, and I would want you to explain to us, why would a father rape his own daughter? Why would a grandfather rape his own daughter? Why would a mother abandon her children? What would be the psychological problem that this, us as individuals and as a nation and world over, what is happening? Our homes have become dysfunctional, and it is inhabitable even for our children. So from a counseling perspective, what can we do about this?
Regina, it's a broad question that needs to be really analyzed in a way that the ordinary person there can be able to understand. So first, with the coming of COVID-19, it has acted like a trigger to what already a sick society, a society that actually needs a lot of help for it to be able to fully function. What makes people to be dysfunctional within the society? There are many factors, and we are going to look at some of them. But primarily, each individual is unique. Each person goes through a process of development that is unique to the individual himself. Even brothers and sisters, even twins, within the family setup, they are unique in their own way. How they relate to their parents, how they relate to their siblings, makes these people to be unique as they grow up. So when we talk about challenges during this particular time, Or when we talk about fathers who do these abominable things, we are looking at a situation that is complex, that has no one factor. So, for example, we can look at the aspect of the family of origin influences each one of us.
Okay.
So this family of origin makes who you are. We are all products of the family that we have come from, apart from other factors like genetics. So today's world, we are in the 21st century, a time when the world has become a whole village, whereby we are able to share, to know everything in the whole world. So this alone has eroded our values as a society. Our family fabrics are no longer there. Initially, it's like when some of us were growing, we grew up in a society whereby a child belonged to a whole village, not even the immediate family. And that helps us to be able to mold us, for us to develop values that actually we are using now as our guideline in living. But in today's society, you can live with your neighbor in an estate without meeting that person for a long time.
True.
Your neighbor can find your child making mistakes, they don't care what happens. And therefore, there are other factors as parents. Like, if you look at today, what is it that we value most?
Okay.
We value so much making money. So if we invest much of our energy in being financially stable and successful, then the family takes a background in our way of looking at what life is all about. So we raise up children who actually have not been parented by the parents, but perhaps sometimes by house helps. So these are some of the factors that contribute to the challenges that fatherhood and parents are facing today. Like, I want to give a clear example. I was reading in one of the WhatsApp groups today. It is reported that a secondary school teacher clobbered a teenager daughter to death because the father found the young teenager with a ball. So if you analyze that alone, it will tell you a lot. What on earth could be able to make this secondary school teacher, a person whom I think should be able to understand a child development, how a child develops and how they try to understand their world and all that, go to the level of killing his own daughter. So these are some of the challenges which perhaps we are going to look at as we progress on.
Now, I also wanted us to expound further in the issues of suicide. It is on the ramp, it's on the high. And I remember the other day, there was a clip on Facebook of our father was lamenting. He didn't know what to do because they had a good time with the son, good time with the grandfather. Then the next thing, they're being called by the sister to come and see what has happened. The boy hanged himself. What is happening to our society? What could be the result of that? You've talked about triggers. Yes. COVID is a trigger. Yes.
We are living at times whereby the resources are scarce. There's a lot of confusion all over the world. Marriage today is not the same thing as it was previously. People have developed stress. So these kind of factors influence a lot on how people respond to situations. So if we come back to suicide, I have, in my course of life, I have seen a lot of young people commit suicide. And when you try to trace what could possibly be the reason behind this, first is the understanding of what the world is. Then they have their own unique expectations about the world. When these expectations are not met, then it triggers stress. And if there is nobody whom this young person can explain and who can understand them, then this can lead to a child giving up about life, and they are possibly leading to suicide. Then the other thing that is actually a major problem again is the issue of parenting. Parenting are putting a lot of pressure on young people. They believe that successful children are the one who passes exams, and they push their own children to the level that the children can be able to really see sense in that. And perhaps this child is not an academician. They have other unique potentials which parents have not taken time to understand. So when the child is pushed to that level, then the child is limited on what they can be able to do. So they end up maybe choosing the option of suicide as a way out of this kind of frustrations. So parenting, the stress levels,
yes.
And then the other factor perhaps which is also major, how we parent these children. Some children are brought up in dysfunctional families, and therefore they don't develop social skills which enable them to negotiate through as they are growing up. Then some children also are isolated, labeled by even the parents. Some are not given adequate levels of support system, either food, other things that the children need, and therefore they feel like they don't matter anymore. What I have realized as in my interaction with young people is that most of the young people, you'll find that there's no time they're being told that my son, my daughter, I love you for who you are. They're given conditional love. So when they go out there and find some people who can tell them you are special, then this brings a lot of challenges. If that person who has told him or her that you are special, and maybe there is a conflict and they separate, then that can also be very, very serious situation to the young person.
Yes. You've mentioned a few factors: scarcity of resources, stress levels, dysfunctional homes, and parenting issues.
Now, I'm looking at a scenario whereby a family setup, let's take an example of an ideal family, a father, mother, and children. And they are not connected. The home is no longer a home, it's a house. We come and lodge, then in the morning we go out, we come back in the evening. It's a routine kind of thing. There isn't warmth because of all those factors you've mentioned. Does it mean that there's no solution or there's a solution to it? Because everybody is living in their own world. We get into the house, people on social media, on their phones, on their laptops, on iPads. We are totally dysfunctional. Are there solutions to that so that we're able to manage these factors that you have mentioned in the family setup?
Today's family, they are raised without a vision. And a family is like any company that has to have a vision, that has to have values, that has to have a destination where they want to go. A traditional family setup, when the structures are fully functional, then each child in that home gets the feeling of being connected to each other member within the family setup. When these families, there's no connection between the different members of the family, then that brings a lot of challenges, especially the growing child. And even the parents themselves. Because when they come to a relationship, a marriage, then that marriage is supposed to give some level of benefit for that particular individual.
Yes.
When these benefits of the family are not there, then it brings a lot of challenges to each individual. But we are saying there is hope. There is hope. Of course, we have gone wrong somewhere. We have been derailed by feeling like we want to look like we are more westernized than even the westerners themselves. So the roots of this solution is still within us. We need to understand who we are. For each individual, you need to know who you are. Then
just hold that point,
Okay.
Mwalimu.
Okay.
We are taking a short break. We'll be back. Thank you.